Joy Behar actually recently was just talking, and she talked about the rise of Antifa recently, who have been rioting around Portland, around Seattle, around Los Angeles, which we're going to get into today. And she had this to say.
Right out there with his racism. There's no dog whistle for him. You know, it's like, I'm a racist. Have a nice day. You know what I mean? I guess, you know, it's funny. When I was watching this, it's so aggravating to listen to this idiot. I mean, he and I are very different. I'll tell you this right now. If I was surrounded by people carrying weapons, people erecting nooses, screaming, hang Mike Pence, bludgeoning a police officer to death, I might be a little scared. But Ron, no, he's not scared of those people. He's scared of this fictitious idea of Antifa, a thing that doesn't even exist. He needs to go. He needs to go, and soon.
Right. Sonny, what...
Did you hear 2 conspiracy theories in this one?
My favorite part about these like manufactured, oh, go off sis moments is that she's like trying to, you know, and then she keeps looking down at her notes because she doesn't actually know what she's saying because she didn't write it herself.
And she also said that my favorite government-funded or government-inspired conspiracy theories, I say funded, right, because we know the CIA is heavily involved in the corporate media. That's actually true. Is that she said that, you know, there were Trump supporters that were bludgeoning a police officer to death on the Capitol, at the Capitol. False story.
Yeah,
Officer Sicknick was not bludgeoned to death at the Capitol. That is a propaganda conspiracy theory that is still spread to this day.
Hey, but you know what? It's free speech. It's free speech to convince millions of people that Trump supporters should effectively be genocided.
Yeah, because they killed, I like even what Beto O'Rourke said. He said that we bludgeoned to death many officers, actually. He said multiple, which was a really important factor. They're not only inventing the first one, they're inventing multiple ones after that.
Yeah, that's something that I've tried to really communicate to my audience is that, you know, we have limitations on the First Amendment. Like you can't go into a crowded theater and yell fire, I think is the most common example. So what's the effective difference between that and going on national television and saying 2 statements, saying Nazis are bad and we should kill Nazis, and then saying Trump supporters are Nazis? You're not saying kill Trump supporters, but you're making it very clear what the connection should be. Like at what point does that stop being free speech? I mean, we know that there's violence against Trump supporters, conservatives more broadly speaking, and it's like being literally incited by this sort of rhetoric from the mainstream media. So like at what point do we step in and say you can't actually get away with that just because you're like a private company or whatever?
Yeah, and I think that that's important because as they spread this propaganda, guys, she also said that as Antifa's on the rise, we're going to look at their attacks across the nation just this weekend and this week. She said they are fictitious, which is a second conspiracy theory spread by Jerry Nadler, who said that they were a myth. This is the Mark O. Hatfield Federal Courthouse. I spent a lot of time here. People could remember. This is videos by BG on the scene, Brandon Gutschwager, one of the few last reporters that's not attacked by Antifa because he's neutral. This is the courthouse, and they have to put a security barrier around it. They had just taken this down a few days earlier because they were like, oh, Biden's in office, peace is returned, let's take down the barrier. And as we saw that first video, I don't know if you can bring it back on the screen, the opening video, this was the night that they took down the barrier. They tried to light the courthouse on fire, which shows you that there's no turning back to normal at this point. And I want people to understand that as Antifa is like rising again, they never went away. They're still not fictitious. They weren't a myth while Trump was president. They weren't fictitious while Biden is supposedly president. The key thing is as we look at this, we are living in an age where we're going, it is normal to have security barriers in our capital. It is normal to have security barriers in our city, in our state, around our federal buildings. This isn't normal, and I'm not going to accept it as normal. And something damn well needs to change, because when you look at this and you look at the absolute totality of what's happening in our states, who's allowing this? It's us. It's the people. The government has no power. It's perceived threat, especially in Portland. And most officers that I speak to in Portland, I have a lot of good contacts in Rose City Police, are sick of this BS. They're tired of it, and they're done with it. Not the police commissioner, full of crap, not the city council, full of crap, but just the normal Leo law enforcement officer is like, I have my hands tied, and America's in the same position. Like, what the hell do we do? You know, when Joy Behar says that it's fictitious, right? That's the world that we're living in. That's the interesting thing that I want to bring up, that people ask me, why am I not out on the field? Not only am I not sure if I'm allowed to fly still, but so there's that one. There's that small little factor. But there's also the factor of the fact that I don't believe recording these people right now is what America needs. Like, I'm calculating my next moves because we know that they're real. And I spent a year, sacrificed my safety. I have, permanent scarring in my mouth. I have problems, some serious problems, some very serious problems. No, I think I suffer with a bit of PTSD, just a lot of I have ringing in my ears from so many flashbangs all the time. My hair was falling out from tear gas and being in gas so much. I had to get get medical stuff to make sure my hair wouldn't fall out anymore. And I mean, and my problem with my vision, even like my friend's Drew, his vision went out from all the flashbangs. It'd get glasses. Like, I mean, this stuff really does take a physical toll on you. Plus the fact is, I was only home 2 weeks a month, usually takes a toll on your marriage. It's hard spiritually. It's hard to remain. I lost connection with my church. I mean, I didn't, give my life. I'm not some hero, but I did pay a cost. And you know what? And what's the final result? That these people are actually fictitious. Like 10 months of grueling work with dozens of other people. Sav herself got jumped out there, lost stuff. And then isn't it a slap in the face to then it's been like, oh, by the way, all your footage is a lie.
A great philosopher once said that you can be 2 out of 3 things: liberal, smart, or honest, but you can't be all 3. At Slightly Offensive, we're smart and honest. And if you like this clip, head over to Slightly Offensive YouTube channel by clicking right here, where you can find new episodes of our show weekly. We're bringing you the topics, news stories, and angles that will have you saying, why the hell wasn't I subscribed sooner? Also, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to this channel too.